This first graph has a new period of pi, and therefore increments of pi over 4. There's no phase shift and no vertical shift, so we can put our axes right in the middle of the graph paper. That'll be pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, and finally pi. I'll do my y increments as a half. That'll take care of the amplitude change. This is cosecant, so we want to graph a sine curve as a guide. And then we can put on our asymptotes here. Should be an asymptote of pi over 2 at pi along the y-axis, negative pi over 2 and at negative pi. And once we have that, we can create our curves. The next problem is a new period of 6 pi and therefore increments of 3 pi over 2. No vertical or phase shift, so once again we can place our x and y axes right in the middle of the graph paper. Three pi over 2, 3 pi, 9 pi over 2, and 6 pi. And we could either label these as 1, 2, and 3. That'll take the graph slightly off the graph paper, or you could label them as 3 and 6. Make things a little bit more compact. Okay, we've got a cosine curve because of secant, but we've got a vertical reflection and a change to the amplitude. So 3 pi over 2 means we have to start down. So this is what the cosine curve would look like. Next we can place our asymptotes at 3 pi over 2 and at 9 pi over 2, and that will finally give us our curves. Number 3 was just a sine graph, except for a lot of transformations going on. We've got a vertical shift of 1, we have a reflection over the x-axis, we have an amplitude change, and we have a period change. The new period is going to be 2, therefore the increments are going to be 1/2. Because we have a vertical shift, we can create an equilibrium and then adjust our x-axis. Because this is a vertical shift up 1, our x-axis will be slightly below. Our increments will look like that. This is a sine curve with an amplitude of 2. And because we have a vertical reflection, we need to start down. That's what that curve will look like. And finally, the cotangent. The new period is going to be pi over 2, and therefore increments will be pi over 8. There's our equilibrium, which will represent the vertical shift of down 1. So our x-axis will go just above that. Pi over 8, pi over 4, 3 pi over 8, pi over 2. The asymptotes must be pi over 2 apart. There's one at 0, and here's the other one. And this other one is at negative pi over 2. So at pi over 4 is going to start us at equilibrium, and at pi over 8 we're going to be 1 away. Same thing here. This will be negative pi over 4. And that's what our cotangent curves will look like.